Hello, long time no see, right? I know that most people subscribe to this channel are actually just dead accounts, but if you just so happen to be one of the very few people that actually, for some reason, decided to stay here, um, sure, stick around, but don't get mad at me when you regret it, okay? Because you're gonna hear me bitch about Nyan Neko Sugar Girls right now. I want to talk about it because it's kind of a little odd passion of mine, and I want to sort of give my input in the character, show my headcanons for each of them. Um, Even though honestly, I'm just mostly gonna focus on Kaneko since she's my favorite character, and I actually think she's the most explorable character. I really don't know what else to say. I think this is the best way I can describe it. She's the character I can make more shit up about and pretend that it's canon and still seem like it fits the character, if I'm being very honest. But before getting about all those opinions of mine, let's start with a brief summary of what is Nyan Neko Sugar Girl. Don't expect a very good summary, I'm just gonna kind of talk about the story. But even though I'm talking about the story, I still encourage you to actually go watch it because it's a whole experience. I watched this stuff 5 times, the whole series 5 times, and I'd still watch it again because it's just so entertaining somehow. So Raku-chan is a cat girl, and her best friend is Kaneko-chan. She's also a cat girl. And yes, I'm gonna put Chen and San on their names constantly because they use it all the time on the series, and it got stuck in my head like that. So that's just how I remember their names. The story is actually very slice of lifey, and it focused mostly on Raku's feelings. Wow, it really seems like I'm talking about something completely different from what I'm talking about. Raku falls in love with a guy named Hitoshi. He's a bisexual king, but he has as much personality as a Ken character in the Barbie Princess movie. In all honesty, I can describe him as a bisexual guy who develops Stockholm Syndrome at some point of his life and says "rar" a lot of times for no reason. Like really no reason. He's not even part animal like like Haku and Kaneko. After falling in love, she gets bitten by a squirrel and blows my fucking ears off while being bitten. From that squirrel, she gets magical rabies that turns her into a cat, not part cat as she is. She turns into a full cat with wings for some reason. And also, Hitoshi gets kidnapped by a guy in spandex, and yeah, sure. But don't fool yourself, he's kidnapped for like 10 seconds, just long enough for him to fall in love with the guy and for the guy to like try to make a sexual move on him that actually almost worked really. Kaneko and Haruku kept there and they saved his ass. I don't even remember them beating the guy up. I think they just get there and are like, stop, and he stops. As for Raku's special rabies, she's taken to a nurse in a pet shop. Actually, it's more of a vet, but does it really make that much of a difference? The nurse almost doesn't wear clothes and she looks like she was designed to appear in Kobayashi. Also, her voice is very loud because her the person dubbing her seems like wanted to eat the microphone. She gets cured of her crazy rabies, and when she goes to tell Hitoshi about the news that she's now healthy, Hitoshi is already in a relationship with the guy that kidnapped him. Haku starts to pass out because she has a broken heart. They call it a broken coconut, but really, I can't repeat it more than once and not die of being ashamed. Then we have the gayest scene in an anime ever had. Well, Haku's like on the floor dying, Haku kind of holds her, and she's the only one like giving her the attention because Hitoshi is with his boyfriend, and his boyfriend is all weird and shit. And Komeko is like crying. Then Haku's like, I hope you all can have a very happy life, Desu-chan. But Kaneko tries to like take her to the nurse, which by the way, I forgot to say the nurse is also a witch. That's how she cures her magical rabies. But when she gets to the witch, she says it's too late. She died of a broken kokoro. Then basically it ends with this, and uh, Koneko starts to sing Mariah Carey. Was it as brief as of a summary as I wanted it to be? No, it wasn't. But I feel like I managed to capture the energy of the series, so it's okay. Oh yeah, there's also a part after Raku is cured from her magical rabies where she meets Mineirinho and his huge delinquent boyfriend at a house party. She also meets a lot of like old friends from high school, and there we see that Kaneko went through mamoplasty in her youth because like her character is drawn with like gigantic breasts, and now she doesn't have them anymore. So congrats on her top surgery, I guess. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes, the bread and the butter, the everything that just kept me up at night thinking about this godforsaking series. My theory, which I'll call a theory and not a fanfiction because it's not a fanfiction, it's a theory. So if we start from the beginning, it's established on the beach slash water park slash pool episode that half animal people are just essentially products of zoophilia. Like, Koneko herself explains to Hitoshi that her father was a cat and her mother was a human. So I could say that they meant like an anthropomorphic cat, but since there's like actually very few animal people and we don't see a single furry in the whole series, I just assumed that it was a normal cat. Based on that, I believe that there would be a huge mistreatment of anybody that is part animal. So basically, the world wouldn't be very good to Kaneko and Haku. That would explain why in high school Kaneko was a delinquent. Since she already knew she was marginalized, she just took the opportunity to do whatever she wanted because people are gonna hate her anyways for things that she really can't control. Back then, Kaneko didn't know many animal people besides herself, and her sister, who is also an animal person. I'm gonna mention her sister a lot, but also her sister only appears in the beach episode, and she doesn't even has a voice. But again, since I'm focusing on Koneko, I'm gonna focus on her sister too because they're siblings. So based on that, based on the fact that Koneko didn't know any other animal person, when Hirako came to the school, she was really intrigued. She was like, oh, there's more people that are like me. She was also intrigued by the fact that Raku was extremely positive and happy. She didn't understood how this could be since she was basically doomed to such a miserable life forever. Now, this is a headcanon filled moment. Um, my personal headcanon is that Kaneko is the only actual Asian person. She and her sister are the only actual Asian people in the series. The other people were not. But Kaneko couldn't bring herself to actually be like, hey, stop, this is weird, because she just couldn't bring herself to do that, seeing that Raku was so happy. They quickly became friends because of their similarities and because of how great being around Haku felt for Koneko. She felt relief, she felt hopeful. Raku was actually rather popular besides being an animal person because she was just very happy and very joyful, and people enjoyed being around her. Also, the way that she had uh, tamed the beast of Koneko made people want to be around her even more because they were like, she can't be that bad of a person. So people ended up ignoring all her quirks and weird thingies just because she was such a good person. So many years go by, they're already out of high school, and Koneko is starting to come to terms with her feelings for Araku. I believe that would happen mostly through her sister because she really doesn't like Araku herself because of the whole culture thing. She's like, nah, she's weird. I don't want to be linked to this girl. You don't want to call her out. I don't want to be close to her. But then her sister ends up analyzing to be like, why are you so, why are so, why you like this girl so much? And she ends up realizing that she likes this girl so much because she likes the girl. So her sister kind of finds out before she does, but then she's like, hey, don't you think that there's something a little weird? And then she's like, oh, maybe. However, Kaneko still feels like she's not able to act on her feelings. She feels very powerless, and she ends up always agreeing with everything that Raku says. She does everything that Raku wants to do. Even though she knows that if she expressed discomfort, Raku would be 100% okay with changing what she is asking. But she doesn't want that to happen, because she wanted to be exactly what Raku wanted her to be. For that reason, when Raku talked about being in love with Hitoshi, she's actually super supportive and she tries her best to help Raku. Since, like, in her head, the most important thing, the number one priority, is keeping Raku happy. Like, for fuck's sake, the girl breaks into a um, kidnapper's fucking. I don't even know what to call that, just to save this guy because her best friend liked the guy, and that was enough to put her life at risk. In fact, the guy wasn't even just a kidnapper, he was about to do unholy things. You can't tell me I'm crazy. Nobody would go this far out of just like, oh, we're good friends. We're okay friends. Like, she doesn't even call the police. I'm also a firm believer that Kaneko was the first one to realize that Hitoshi was in love with someone else, and she was just like internally like, oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck. But in the end of it all, Kaneko has to hold the person that she loves in her arms as she passes away. Only because she loves someone else so much. Which, in all honesty, what, how fucking painful. I don't know how she didn't die of a broken kokoro because holy shit. And then Kaneko's just gonna die with the thought that maybe she had confessed, maybe Raku would have settled for her, maybe she wouldn't be so sad, and maybe she would be able to be alive because she wouldn't be as heartbroken as she was. Well, this was just supposed to be like a little rant, but I guess sometimes things don't go as planned. Am I right, Miss Kaneko? Well, okay, so that was all I had to say. Hope I make at least one person watch this Hellfire of a series, or that you at least enjoyed whatever this is. Goodbye.